I relay for my Aunt Marianne and my Uncle Rodney.
For my friend Morgan Cedar.
For my nanny.
For my dad.
I relay for my teammate.
For my aunt.
For my Aunt Dora.
I relay for my mom and my dad.
For Jeffrey Koss.
For my mom.
For Bob.
For my uncle.
I relay for my grandma.
For my grandma.
For my grandmother.
For my pap.
For my aunt.
For my cousin Morgan.
For Larry Hages.
For my Aunt Bernie.
I relay for Morgan Cedar.
For my aunt.
For my great aunt.
For my mom.
I relay for Anthony Day.
For my aunt.
For my uncle.
For my mother and my father-in-law.
For my grandfather.
I relay for Jean Ann Monet.
For both my Aunt Karens.
For Carol.
For Diana Berta, Tom Nagy, Michelle Shirk, and my mom.
For my dad.
For friends and family.
For my pap. For Frank.
For my grandma. For my grandma.
For my grandmothers.
For my grandfather and my best friend's mom.
For Tony D.
For my friends. For my aunt.
For my grandma.
For my family.
For my friends and family.
For Dr. Schaefer and my Aunt Nancy.
For my dad.
For my mother, Rita.
Yo hago el relay para mi abuela y mi tía.
For my aunt and Graham.
For my friends and family.
For my pap.
Relay for my grandma.
I relay for all the people who are in the hospital for cancer, and I learned never give up.
14 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer, Wilms tumor in my left kidney. I underwent surgery and many weeks of chemo. Throughout my journey, I was given the opportunity to fight beside kids going through the same battle. The support and love I received from my community was key to my recovery. I now go back to Children's Hospital once a year, and I am able to be surrounded with and see the strongest fighters and the most caring doctors. Although this disease has forever altered my life, I am grateful to have experienced such encouragement and endless reassurance from my community. On this day, it is important that we remember that this cause is bigger than any of us, to remember that although cancer may not directly impact all of our lives, it affects many. Our support, love, and encouragement is key to beating this disease. So today, Relay for Life.
As we get ready to celebrate Relay Day today, the big question that everyone asks is, why do you relay? And typically we're met with responses about an aunt, an uncle, a mother, father, a grandfather. So I wanted to take a moment to just share a little bit about the story behind why I relay. About 10 years ago, we found out that my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. After the initial shock and emotional reaction, she started to get treatment and ultimately had a partial mastectomy to remove the cancer, and also went through radiation. She responded really well to this, but at the time it was very scary and made us all really think very deeply about how tragedy can kind of strike at any moment. What this led us to was genetic testing. So because my mom had breast cancer, we were able to be seen by some genetic doctors in Wimber, though she and her 10 siblings were all tested for a genetic mutation, and my siblings and myself were all tested as well. So what we discovered was that I was one of my only siblings who ultimately inherited the genetic mutation check 2. So what that means for me, and it was a scary realization when I got my test results, that I have a higher predisposition to develop certain types of cancer. So for me, it's breast cancer like my mother, it's colon cancer, which ultimately is the reason my grandfather passed away at the age of 60. It's also thyroid cancer, and it also includes prostate cancer, which I don't have to worry about. But unfortunately, it causes me to think about potentially my sons having to deal with it. So one of my big takeaways from this, obviously, my story is not a tragic one. My mother recovered, she's in remission, she's doing great. So far, I have no issues as well. And although I was really upset about this news, especially thinking that, I was in the minority of my family members that ended up having this genetic mutation, I learned that it's actually a blessing. So a lot of people, when they think about cancer, they don't expect themselves to ever get it. And so I have kind of the gift of knowing that I do have higher chances of developing this disease. And I think what it's going to ultimately result in is taking my care and my preventative treatment a lot more seriously. But it could potentially save my life. So today, as we go out and have a really fun time and we enjoy the warm weather and enjoy hanging out with our friends at the end of the school year, We have to keep in mind that this could happen to anyone at any time, and that every dollar that we spend and every time that we relay for this great cause, we could not only be saving a family member, we could also someday be saving ourselves.